At morning, in the not-so-early hours, Spaghetti the Tortoise went out for a walk. She polished her shell and took one last look at her house made of leaves and sticks.
It's been a long time since I've been for a walk,
she thought to herself.
Surely I'll meet some old friends on my way to the Great Lake.
As she started to wander across the big foggy forest, she saw a little white snowflake slowly but steadily falling to the ground. What a delightful sight!
A snowflake! A real snowflake!
She yelled across the forest. But there was no one there to hear her cheer, so she eventually stopped after a while. A few feet away from her was a broken tree that fell onto a rabbit hole during the last storm. The rabbits that lived there moved away due to the accident, and now it's the home of a smaller animal, Charlton the Hamster. In the big foggy forest, he was known for being the messiest hamster that ever lived. Spaghetti didn't hesitate a second and went to visit him.
Charlton, old lad,
she said.
Are you at home?
After a long silence, she heard Charlton mumble something almost whiningly.
Friend, are you all right?
She asked.
Yes, I'm fine. Go away,
Charlton mumbled. The tortoise understood him but didn't go. She wanted to find out what's happening with one of her oldest friends. She smoothly crawled into Charlton's new old rabbit home and found him facing a wall of roots.
I've got a problem, see?
He said after hearing Spaghetti's footsteps with his tiny hamster ears.
This wall! What am I supposed to do with it? I cannot move it, I cannot bite through it, and I certainly don't want to ignore it and let it be. Will you help me, anyhow, to remove it from my house?
The tortoise thought and thought for a long while, and just when it seemed pointless, an idea jumped into her head.
Voles!
She said.
Do you remember our good childhood friend, Fred the Vole?
Not exactly. What's the point of having friends anyway?
Said Charlton in a moody voice.
They always want something in return.
Well, they don't if they are good friends,
said Spaghetti, establishing a plan in her mind. If she only knew what was yet to come. It's getting colder. Oaks are moving south by the north wind. Nothing could catch the fastness of today's snowflakes. They are falling faster than a blink of an eye. But to Spaghetti, all of this is happening quite slowly. She has a mind faster than her body, faster than any regular tortoise. And that's why everything else around her seems so slow. Charlton passed out on his bed of corn. He couldn't bear the stress of having a root wall. His last thoughts were,
what would my neighbors think? That I'm some kind of avant-garde, texture-loving freak?
Spaghetti didn't think about Charlton that way at all. She knew he had a problem. She had an answer to it. She went outside and was surprised by lots of snow everywhere.
Oh no! How am I supposed to get to Fred now? The snow's higher than me,
she said. Luckily for her, a miracle was about to happen. Local postman Ed the Owl was on his way to deliver the post to all of the living creatures in the big foggy forest. He bumped into a branch and fell about a foot away from the hamster's rabbit hole home. Spaghetti heard the loud noise and went outside to see if everything is all right. But what she didn't expect was to see Ed.
Postman Ed, are you okay?
She asked.
Yeah, I'm fine. It happens all the time. Woohoo! It's the fog's fault. I can't see my beak in a fog like this. Especially not when there's a snowstorm going on.
He told her.
Do you want to join me for some warm water, Ed?
Asked she while pointing out.
I have a few questions I'd like to ask you, and it's freezing cold outside.
I'll gladly join,
Ed responded.
Isn't this Charlton's place?
Spaghetti shook her head up and down because her beak froze. It didn't take long for Charlton to wake up out of his whiny sleep. Even better so, he started mumbling right on time.
Spaghetti, give me some water. I'm too sad to get it myself.
He said.
And don't forget to put some leaves in it.
Charlton, don't be lazy.
Ed said.
Come here. Spaghetti just told me about your problem. I think I found a solution how to fix it.
How?
Asked the hamster.
My next stop is Fred the Wolf's house. I'll take Spaghetti to him gently in my claws. She will try to convince Fred to dig a hole from his to your house. And when he finally arrives, he'll be rewarded by eating your wall of roots.
Muddy genius!
Squeaked Charlton.
There's only one problem, lad. What if Fred's too tired and doesn't want to cooperate in this plan?
Thoughts basically flew through the room like flies. If they were flies, I can guarantee you that Ed would have eaten them. Spaghetti quickly got bored of all of the thinking and said,
It's pointless to overthink it, lads. Ed's plan will work. It's just our laziness trying to stop us from succeeding.
Hearing this, Charlton stood up and said,
I don't think you're right. I've known you for many years, Spaghetti. But today, you're really out of your mind. There's a snowstorm outside. Ed and you could freeze to death. It's just not a smart plan.
Okay, Charlton, you're right, but not entirely. See, Ed and me are doing this for you, and the power of our friendship is stronger than any storm. Overthinking brought us nowhere, but I'm certain if we collect some of your leaves and put them in a box, we make a nice warm coat for Ed out of them, and we use the rest and the box for my transport to Fred, it will work. It must, Charlton. Trust me, you'll see that's what friendship is about.
Said Spaghetti in a calm tone. Charlton looked at her and whispered,
I trust you, Spaghetti.
After collecting enough leaves and making a coat for Ed the Owl, Charlton said his goodbyes to them both and wished them much luck. Spaghetti got into the box and waved to Charlton. They started to fly.
Ed, are you okay?
Asked Spaghetti from her box.
Yes, I'm fine.
The postman said. They flew through storm and wind, snow and frost, gliding in the sky. As they were going further, the temperature started dropping. Everything became colder and whiter. Ed's beak was slowly becoming numb, so he told Spaghetti that they won't make it any further. That was no problem for her. She knew something like that could happen on their trip.
I have an excellent idea!
She yelled into the wind. Everywhere nothingness, just snow and ice. No sign of our friends. Oh, there they are. I see them. But wait, what is this? Ed tucked his head into Spaghetti's box to keep his beak warm. But how are they flying? Quick recap. After Spaghetti told Ed that she has an excellent idea,
I have an excellent idea!
she told him to put his beak into her box.
That is madness.
Ed replied.
How am I going to see where we're flying to then?
Trust me,
She said,
I'm going to be your eyes and ears for the rest of our flight.
and so it was. They arrived at Fred's home.
Fred, are you home? It's me, your old friend Spaghetti.
Asked the tortoise.
Yes, I'm home. Come in, please.
Said the friendly wolf. He gave her warm water and even offered her some worms.
Hello, friends. Is anyone here? I'm stuck in the box. Help me.
Yelled the owl from the outside. Fred heard the scream for help and ran to free Ed.
Sorry, Ed. I've almost forgotten about you. I thought you'd fallen asleep in that box.
Said Spaghetti. They managed to get Ed out of the box, and Fred agreed to his plan. He was ready to help Charlton with his problem and decided that he'd like to cook some roots for his whole family afterwards. Spaghetti told him that she's ready to help, but he kindly refused her help by stating,
I'm the best digger there is in the big foggy forest. I'm sure I'll make it alone to Charlton.
Hearing a loud rumbling noise in his walls, Charlton almost exploded from excitement.
You came to help. Thank you, Fred. But where are Spaghetti and Ed?
Fred the Wall told him that he wanted to come alone so that they can rest at his place. Soon after that, he started his job. removing the wall of roots from Charlton's home. The hamster was overjoyed. Meanwhile, the storm has settled. Spaghetti asked Ed for one last flight to the Great Lake. Ed accepted her wish and flew her there.
Ah, in the end, all is well. Thank you, Ed, for flying me here and for your great idea. I'm guessing Charlton is happy now.
She said with a happy tear in her eye. Ed thanked her and told her,
Nothing is possible if we overthink. Thank you again for teaching Charlton and me a great life lesson.
and so he flew away, back to spreading the post all across the big foggy forest,
Woohoo!
Ah, here you are, Spaghetti.
said her owner.
I found her.
But that is a different story.